I believed I knew every consequence of giving up my daughter for adoption 18 years ago. The guilt, the what-ifs, the wondering, but I never imagined she would show up at my door on a Tuesday evening soaking wet from the rain with a backpack that looked too new and eyes that looked nothing like mine. She said her name was Sophia. She said she was 17. She said I was her mother, and I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly that I almost didn't notice the lies. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 43 years old. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in trauma therapy, which means I spend my days helping people untangle the knots their pasts have tied around their present. I live alone in a renovated Victorian house in Millbrook, Massachusetts, with my rescue cat Poe and enough unresolved past to fill a case study. I moved here 3 years ago after my divorce, searching for the kind of peace that small New England towns promise but rarely deliver. My life follows predictable patterns. Morning coffee while reading case notes on my porch. Client sessions from 9 to 5 in my home office. Evening walks through historic downtown. Dinner for one. Books before bed. Sleep. Repeat. It's controlled. Safe. Exactly what I need. But there's one day each year when the pattern breaks. March 14th. The birthday of the daughter I gave up when I was 25. Every year on this date, I allow myself exactly 1 hour to wonder, to imagine, to grieve the choice I made. I wonder if she's happy, if her adoptive parents love her the way I couldn't, if she ever thinks about me. I allow myself 1 hour. That's the rule. Then I pack it away again for another 364 days. But this year, March 14th, brought more than memories. At 6:47 in the evening, I was in my kitchen making tea. Chamomile. I remember because I was watching the water boil, thinking about how my daughter was now 18. Legally an adult. That felt significant somehow. Final. The doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. My friends know I don't do well with surprise visits. They text first. Always. Through the rain-streaked window beside the door, I saw her. A teenage girl. Soaked through. Long, dark hair plastered to her face, shivering in a thin jacket. She was holding a piece of paper with my address written on it in smudged ink. Something in my chest tightened. I opened the door. The cold, wet air rushed in. She looked up at me with desperate eyes. Green eyes. Not like mine. Mine are brown. But I didn't register that detail then. I was too busy registering the fear in her expression. She opened her mouth, and 5 words came out. 5 words that split my world in half. I think you're my mother. Time stopped. My brain couldn't process what I was hearing. Couldn't reconcile the imaginary daughter I'd been thinking about minutes ago with this real, solid, shivering girl on my porch. What my voice came out as a whisper. Emily Carter, she asked. Her voice was shaking. You gave up a baby for adoption 18 years ago. March 14th. A girl. I'm her. I'm your daughter. My knees went weak. I reached for the doorframe to steady myself. This couldn't be happening. Adoption records are sealed. No one can just show up. That's not how it works. But here she was. Real. Speaking. Shivering. I don't. I couldn't form words. Please, she said. I have nowhere else to go. Please. And that's when my training kicked back in. Because I know desperation when I see it. I know fear. Whatever else was true or not true, this girl was in trouble. Come inside, I said. She stepped over the threshold, dripping rain onto my hardwood floors. I closed the door, and suddenly my quiet, predictable life felt very far away. I grabbed towels and dry clothes from upstairs. When I came back down, she was standing exactly where I'd left her. She hadn't moved, just stood there dripping and shaking. Bathroom is there. First door on your left. Get out of those wet things. I'll make you something hot to drink. She nodded and disappeared. I stood in my hallway trying to breathe. My brain was screaming at me. The timing is too perfect. She shows up on the exact date on the birthday. That's not coincidence. That's calculation. But another part of me was whispering something else. What if she's telling the truth? What if this is your daughter? What if this is the moment you've imagined for 18 years? I went to the kitchen, put the kettle back on, got out 2 mugs. My hands were shaking. She came out wearing my sweatpants and sweater. They were too big on her. She was smaller than me, thinner. She'd wrapped her hair in one of the towels. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Sit." I gestured to the kitchen table. Saturday, I brought over 2 mugs of tea and sat across from her. We looked at each other. I was searching for myself in her features, the shape of her nose, the curve of her jaw, but I couldn't find me. She was pretty, but she didn't look like me. She didn't look like the baby I remembered holding. "Tell me your name," I said. My voice was steadier now. I was slipping into therapist mode. "Sophia," she said. "Sophia Thornton. How did you find me?" She wrapped her hands around the mug but didn't drink. "I hired a private investigator. It took months. Cost me almost $3,000. Money I'd been saving. My adoptive parents are wealthy, so I had access to money. $3,000. That was specific. Detailed. It made the story feel more real. Your adoptive parents," I said carefully. "The Thorntons. Tell me about them." Her face changed. Something shuddered behind her eyes. Fear. Real fear. I've seen that expression 1,000 times in my practice. That's not something you fake easily. There. She paused. On the surface, they're perfect. Marcus and Diane Thornton. They live in Greenwich, Connecticut. Big house. Old money. They run a charitable foundation, the Thornton Foundation for Children's Welfare. They throw galas. Everyone thinks they're saints. She stopped, swallowed hard. "But they're not," I prompted gently. "No." Her voice was barely a whisper. "They're not." "What happened, Sophia?" She looked down at her tea. 2 weeks ago, I was in my dad's study. I wasn't supposed to be there. He keeps it locked, but I'd figured out the code. I went in because I was looking for my adoption papers. I wanted information about you, my birth mother. They'd never tell me anything. She paused. I waited. That's what therapists do. We wait. We create space for people to fill with their truth. "I found a safe," she continued, "behind a painting. And it wasn't locked. He'd left it open. Inside there were documents, financial records, bank statements, emails, documents showing what?" She looked up at me then. Her green eyes were full of terror. "The foundation. It's not real. I mean, it exists. But the charity part is a front. The money they raise doesn't go to children's welfare. It goes through offshore accounts, gets cleaned, redistributed. I didn't understand all of it. But I took pictures with my phone, and I looked some of it up. The accounts, the names. Emily, it's connected to trafficking. Human trafficking." My blood went cold. "Did you go to the police?" I asked. "No." She shook her head violently. "I confronted my dad first. I was angry. Stupid. I showed him the pictures on my phone. Told him I knew what he was doing. Demanded he shut it down, or I'd report him." "What did he do?" He smiled. Her voice broke. He smiled at me and said I was clearly having some kind of mental health crisis. Said I was delusional, making things up. He called my mom, and they both looked at me with this pity, like I was broken. My dad pulled out papers he already had prepared, for a psychiatric facility. Said I'd been showing signs of instability for months. Gaslighting. Classic, textbook gaslighting. "I ran," she whispered. "That night, I packed a bag and left. I've been staying in motels. Cheap ones. Paying cash. I turned off my phone. They can track it. And then I came here, because I didn't know where else to go. I thought maybe you would help me. Maybe you would believe me. She started crying. Quiet tears that slid down her face while she stared at her tea. I reached across the table and took her hand. It was cold. Small. Sophia, I said gently, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. She nodded. The adoption. The timing. You showing up here today on March 14th. That's my daughter's birthday. That's not a coincidence, is it? She looked at me. Held my gaze. No, she said quietly. It's not a coincidence. I waited. I planned it. I wanted you to know I was serious. That I'm really her. Really yours. It made sense. In a twisted way, it made sense. But something still felt wrong. Just a feeling. An instinct. Can I see the pictures? I asked. The documents from your father's safe. Yes. She pulled her phone from her pocket. Her hands were shaking badly. She unlocked it, pulled up her photo gallery, and handed it to me. I scrolled through. There were dozens of images. Bank statements showing transfers in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Emails discussing shipments and deliveries and payments. Offshore account numbers. Legal documents in what looked like Russian or Ukrainian. It looked real. Incredibly real. Sophia, I said slowly, I need to think about this. I need to verify some things. But you can't stay here long term. If your parents reported you missing, if they're looking for you, having you here, puts both of us at risk. I know. Her voice was small. I just need a day. Maybe 2. Please. I looked at this desperate, terrified girl. And I made a decision. 2 days, I said. You can stay for 2 days. The guest room upstairs. But tomorrow I'm making some calls. And Sophia, if I find out you're lying to me, I will call the police. Do you understand? Yes. Relief flooded her face. Thank you. She stood up and hugged me. A tight, desperate hug. And for a moment I let myself imagine. This could be my daughter. And she needs me. But then she pulled back and I saw her eyes again. Those green eyes that looked nothing like mine. I showed her to the guest room. Gave her extra blankets. Told her to get some sleep. Then I went back downstairs and sat at my kitchen table with my laptop. I typed in Thornton Foundation for Children's Welfare. It existed. The website was professional, sleek, photos of smiling children. A board of directors including Marcus and Diane Thornton. There was a photo of them at a gala. He was in a tuxedo. She was in a designer gown. They looked exactly how Sophia described them. Wealthy, powerful, respectable. I searched for Marcus Thornton daughter. Nothing came up. No family photos, no mentions of children. I pulled out the file I keep locked in my desk drawer. My adoption file. I'd memorized every word years ago, but I needed to see it. The adoptive family's last name was Jenkins, not Thornton. They lived in Vermont, not Connecticut. Sophia Thornton was not my daughter. I sat there in the dark kitchen staring at the documents. She'd lied. She'd manipulated me. She'd used the most painful part of my past as a tool. I should have been angry, but I wasn't. I was something else. Something more complicated. Because her fear had been real. The documents on her phone had looked real. And if she wasn't my daughter, if she lied about that, it meant she was even more desperate than I'd thought. Desperate enough to research me. Find my vulnerabilities. Exploit them. That's not normal teenage rebellion. That's survival. I closed my laptop. I would confront her in the morning. But tonight, I would let her sleep. Let her feel safe for a few hours. Because whatever else was true, this girl needed help. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my living room with Poe curled on my lap, watching shadows move across the ceiling, thinking about lies and truth, and impossible choices. Morning came slowly, gray light filtering through my windows. I made coffee. strong coffee. At 7:30, I heard footsteps upstairs. Sophia was awake. She came downstairs at 8. "Good morning," she said quietly. "Sit down, Sophia." My voice was calm. "Professional." Saturday. She looked at me warily. She knew. "I need you to tell me the truth," I said. "I already checked. I know you're not my daughter. The family that adopted my baby was named Jenkins. They lived in Vermont. So whatever story you're about to tell me, start with the truth this time." Her face crumpled. She took a breath, nodded. "You're right," she said. "I'm not your biological daughter. My name really is Sophie Thornton. I'm 17, and everything I told you about my parents and the foundation and the documents, that's all true. But I lied about the adoption. Why? Because I'd been researching therapists in this area, ones who specialized in trauma, who might understand. And I found your profile. It mentioned you worked with survivors of abuse and trafficking. And then I dug deeper. I found old records, a mention in a newspaper article about adoption advocacy. And I pieced it together. That you'd given up a child, and I saw the date, March 14th. And I thought if I showed up on that date and said I was her, you'd let me in. You'd help me. I know it was manipulative. I know it was cruel, but I didn't know who else to turn to." I sat there processing. She'd manipulated me. Expertly. Used my deepest wound as a weapon. And yet I understood. I'd seen this before. Survivors using whatever tools they have. "Show me your phone again," I said. "The documents." She handed it over. I looked more carefully this time. One name caught my eye. Viktor Sokolov. I'd heard that name before, in the news. A suspected oligarch with ties to organized crime. "Sophie," I said slowly, "if these documents are real, this is bigger than your parents. This is federal crime, international crime. You can't handle this alone. I can't handle this alone. I know." Her voice was barely audible. But who do I tell? Who do I trust? I thought about the lawyer I knew, Jennifer Chen. She specialized in family law, but she had connections. FBI contacts? "I have a friend," I said. "A lawyer. Someone I trust. Let me call her." "But Sophie, you need to understand something. If we go down this road, if we report this, there's no going back. Your life will change completely. Are you prepared for that?" She looked at me with those green eyes. "They're not my parents," she said flatly. "Not anymore. I don't care what happens to me. I just want it to stop. I want those children to be saved." There it was. The truth beneath the fear. She wasn't just running. She was trying to be a hero. "Okay," I said. "Give me your phone. I'm going to make copies of everything. And then I'm calling Jennifer." I spent the next hour photographing every document, creating backups. Then I called Jennifer, got her voicemail, left a message. "Jennifer, it's Emily Carter. I need to talk to you urgently. It's about a potential witness to federal crimes. Call me back." At 10:15, my doorbell rang. Sophie's face went white. "That's them," she whispered. "That's my parents." I looked out the window. A black SUV was parked in my driveway, and standing at my door was a couple, mid-50s, impeccably dressed. Marcus and Diane Thornton. I had a choice to make. Right now, I looked at Sophie. She was shaking, terrified. I made my choice. "Go upstairs," I told her. "My bedroom. Lock the door. Don't come out." She ran. I heard my bedroom door close. The lock click. I took a breath. Opened the door. "Can I help you?" I asked politely. The man smiled. It was warm, charming, practiced. "Dr. Carter, I'm Marcus Thornton. This is my wife Diane. I believe you have our daughter inside. We've been desperately worried." "I don't know what you're talking about," I said calmly. Diane stepped forward. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. "Please," she said. "We just want our daughter back. She's sick. She has a psychiatric condition. She runs away sometimes. Makes up stories. We love her. We just want to help her. They were good. Very good. They looked exactly like concerned parents. But I've been a therapist for 15 years. I've seen every kind of performance. My gut said they were lying. If your daughter is missing, I said evenly, you should contact the police. I can't help you. Marcus's smile didn't waver. Dr. Carter, let's not make this difficult. We know she's here. We're not here to cause trouble. We just want to take our daughter home. I don't have your daughter. May we come in? Diane asked. No, I said firmly. This is my private residence. Unless you have a warrant, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Marcus's expression changed. The warmth disappeared. Something cold slid into his eyes. Dr. Carter, he said quietly, I don't think you understand the situation. If you're harboring her, you're putting yourself at legal risk. Those are serious charges. Then file them, I said. But you're not coming into my house without a warrant. Now please leave my property. Marcus pulled out his phone. Fine, he said. We'll call the police. And Dr. Carter. We own half the judges in this state. We have friends everywhere. If you've helped our daughter with her delusions, we will bury you. Your license, your career, your reputation, all of it. Gone. He wasn't smiling anymore. I held his gaze. I'm quaking in my boots, Mr. Thornton. Now get off my porch. I closed the door. Locked it. Leaned against it, my heart pounding. I heard their voices outside. Muffled. Angry. Then car doors. The engine. They were leaving. But they'd be back. With police. With lawyers. I had maybe an hour. I ran upstairs. Sophie, it's me. Open up. She unlocked the door. Her face was tear-streaked. Did they take me? They left. But they're coming back. With police. We need to move fast. My phone rang. Jennifer. Finally. Jennifer, thank God. I need your help. Right now, I explained. Fast. Everything. There was a pause. Then Jennifer said, Emily, this is way above my level. But I have a contact. FBI. Agent Sarah Kim. Let me call her. Don't let that girl leave. Don't let anyone take her. I'll call you back in 5 minutes. She hung up. Pack your bag, I told Sophie. We might need to leave quickly. My phone rang. Jennifer again. Emily, Agent Kim is on her way. She's 20 minutes out. Can you hold on for 20 minutes? Yes, I said. I can do that. Don't answer the door for anyone else. Agent Kim will identify herself. FBI credentials. Her badge number is 73492. Check it. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Sophie, I called. We have 20 minutes. FBI is coming. We just need to hold on. She appeared at the top of the stairs. Really? They believed you. They're coming to verify. We're going to get you help. Real help. She started crying, relief pouring out. And then I heard car doors outside. I looked out the window. The black SUV was back. And this time, they'd brought a police car. 2 uniformed officers. My doorbell rang. A hard knock. Police open up. Upstairs. Stay in my bedroom, I told Sophie. She disappeared. I opened the door. 2 officers stood there. Behind them, Marcus and Diane Thornton. Dr. Emily Carter, one officer asked. Young. Maybe 30. Name tag Reed Patterson. Yes. We've received a report of a missing minor. Sophie Thornton. Age 17. Her parents believe she may be on your premises. We need to search your home. Do you have a warrant? I asked. Patterson hesitated. No, ma'am. But we have parental consent. I understand that, officer. But this is my home. I'm a therapist. I have client confidentiality to consider. I can't allow you to search without a warrant. Marcus stepped forward. Officer, this is absurd. My daughter is clearly inside. This woman is harboring a runaway. Mr. Thornton, please, Patterson said. He turned back to me. Dr. Carter, if you're not hiding anyone, why not just let us look? Because I have rights, I said, and I'm exercising them. The second officer, older, stepped forward. His name tag read Williams. Ma'am, we can get a warrant, but that'll take time. Let us in. Let's resolve this peacefully. I was about to respond when I heard a car pull up. Fast. A black sedan. Federal plates. A woman got out. Asian, mid-40s, professional suit. She walked up with confidence. She pulled out credentials, held them up. Agent Sarah Kim, FBI. I need to speak with Dr. Carter. This is now a federal matter. Officers, please step back. Patterson and Williams looked confused. Federal? On what grounds? That's classified Agent Kim, said flatly. Dr. Carter is cooperating with a federal investigation. If you interfere, you'll be obstructing justice. Marcus Thornton's face went pale. Then he recovered. This is ridiculous. Agent Kim, my daughter, is mentally ill. She makes up stories. Whatever she's told you is a delusion. Agent Kim looked at him. Her expression gave nothing away. Mr. Thornton, I suggest you and your wife go home. We'll be in touch. We're not leaving without our daughter. Yes, Agent Kim said. You are. Officers, please escort the Thorntons off the property. Williams nodded. Come on, Mr. Thornton. Let's let the feds handle this. They left. Reluctantly. Angrily. But they left. Agent Kim turned to me. Dr. Carter, may I come in? I checked her credentials. Badge number 73492. It matched. Yes, I said. Please. She stepped inside. Where's Sophie? She asked. Upstairs. In my bedroom. I'll get her. I called up. Sophie, you can come down. It's safe. She appeared at the top of the stairs. Saw Agent Kim. Hesitated. Sophie Thornton, Agent Kim asked. Yes. I'm Agent Sarah Kim, FBI. I understand you have information about criminal activity involving the Thornton Foundation. Sophie nodded. Came down slowly. I need to see the documents, Agent Kim said. Sophie handed over her phone. Agent Kim scrolled through. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her jaw tighten. Where did you get these? She asked. My father's safe. In his study. 2 weeks ago. And you haven't altered them in any way? No. Sophie's voice was firm. They're real. Everything there is real. Agent Kim looked at me. Dr. Carter, I need to speak with Sophie privately. Is there somewhere we can talk? My office. Through there. They disappeared. Closed the door. I sat down. Poe jumped into my lap. I stroked his fur. 20 minutes passed. 30. 45. Finally, the door opened. Agent Kim came out first. Sophie followed. Sophie had been crying, but she looked lighter. Relieved, Dr. Carter, Agent Kim said. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm going to need to take Sophie with me. She'll be placed in protective custody while we investigate. What Sophie has provided us could be critical evidence. Is she safe? I asked. Will the Thorntons be able to get to her? No. She'll be in a secure location. And Dr. Carter, what you did today, refusing to hand her over that may have saved her life? We've been investigating the Thornton Foundation for months. We had suspicions, but no proof. Sophie's evidence might be the break we needed. I felt something loosen in my chest. Agent Kim turned to Sophie. Are you ready? Sophie looked at me. Thank you, she said quietly. For believing me? For protecting me? I'm sorry I lied about being your daughter. I stood up. Walked over to her. Sophie, you did what you had to do to survive. I understand that. And even though you're not my biological daughter, I'm glad I could help you. She hugged me. Tight. You'll be okay, I whispered. You're brave. Braver than you know. Agent Kim handed me a business card. If you remember anything else, if the Thorntons contact you again, call me immediately. And Dr. Carter, This investigation is confidential. Don't discuss it with anyone. Understood. They left. Agent Kim's car pulled away with Sophie in the back seat. And just like that, my house was quiet again. Empty. I sat at my kitchen table, looked around at my normal, predictable life. Except it didn't feel normal anymore. It felt different. I felt different. I'd made a choice. I'd chosen to protect a stranger. I'd risked my career, my safety, my comfortable life. And I'd do it again. 2 weeks later, I saw the news. Marcus and Diane Thornton arrested on federal charges. Racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy. The Thornton Foundation shut down. Multiple arrests across 3 states. Sophie's evidence had cracked the case wide open. I never saw her again. Agent Kim told me Sophie had been placed with a good foster family. She was in therapy, finishing high school. She was going to be okay. And then 3 months after Sophie left, I got a letter. It was addressed to Dr. Emily Carter. The return address was in Vermont. No name. I opened it with shaking hands. The handwriting was neat. Feminine. Young. Dear Emily, my name is Hannah Jenkins. I'm 18 years old. I was adopted 18 years ago by Michael and Susan Jenkins. They're teachers. Good people. They raised me with love. A few months ago, the FBI contacted my parents. There was an investigation. Someone had illegally accessed sealed adoption records, including mine. They thought I should know, and they asked if I wanted information about my birth mother. I said yes. They told me your name, Emily Carter. They said you lived in Massachusetts. They said you're a therapist, that you help people. I don't know if you want to hear from me, but I've thought about you, wondered about you, who you are, why you gave me up. If you ever regretted it, my parents said it's my choice, whether to reach out, whether to try to meet you, so I'm making that choice. I'd like to meet you, if you want to. No pressure, no expectations, just coffee, just a conversation. If you're interested, my number is below. I hope you call. Hannah. I read the letter 3 times, 4 times. My hands were shaking. My daughter. My real daughter. Reaching out, I picked up my phone, dialed the number. It rang twice. Then a voice. Young. Nervous. Hello, Hannah. My voice cracked. This is Emily. Emily Carter. There was a pause. Then hi. Hi, Emily. Thank you for calling. Thank you for writing. We talked for an hour. Awkward at first, then easier. She told me about her life. Her parents. Her dreams of becoming a veterinarian. I told her about my work, my house, my cat. We made plans to meet. The following month. Coffee in Boston. I hung up feeling something I hadn't felt in 18 years. Hope. That night I sat on my porch with Poe, looking up at the stars, thinking about the strange paths our lives take, the choices we make, the consequences that ripple out in ways we can never predict. I thought about Sophie, the girl who wasn't my daughter but who taught me something important. That motherhood isn't just biology. It's showing up. It's choosing to protect someone who needs protecting. I gave away one daughter because I thought it would give her a better life. And 18 years later, I protected another girl who needed me. Both choices felt impossible. Both felt like I was tearing out a piece of my heart. But both were right. The night before I met Hannah, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering what I would say, what she would think of me. In the morning, I got dressed carefully. I wanted to look like myself. I drove to Boston, to the coffee shop we'd agreed on, a little place in Cambridge. I got there early, ordered tea, sat by the window. At exactly 2 o'clock, she walked in. I knew her immediately. She looked like me, not like Sophie with her green eyes. Hannah had my face, my brown eyes, my hands. It was like looking at a photograph of my younger self. She saw me, smiled nervously, walked over. Emily, Hannah, We stood there for a moment, not sure what to do. She made the decision. Hugged me. Quick. Uncertain. We sat down, ordered coffee for her, and then we talked. About everything. Her childhood, my reasons for the adoption, her feelings, my feelings, the what-ifs and the reality of who we both were now. I'm not angry, she said at one point. My parents always told me you loved me, that you gave me up because you wanted me to have a life you couldn't provide. I believe that. I did, I said. My voice was thick with emotion. I was 25. No money. No support system. Your parents could give you what I couldn't. And they did. They gave you a good life, didn't they? They did, she said. They're wonderful. I'm lucky. Then I made the right choice. She reached across the table, took my hand. You did. But that doesn't mean we can't know each other now. I'd like to get to know you. Not as a replacement for my parents, just as you. As Emily, I squeezed her hand. I'd like that very much. We talked for 3 hours. Made plans to see each other again, have dinner. Maybe I could meet her parents. When we said goodbye, she hugged me again. Longer this time. And she whispered, "Thank you for giving me life. And thank you for giving me the chance to have a good one." I watched her walk away, down the street, into her future. A future I'd made possible by letting her go. Now, sitting here on my porch, I think about both girls. Sophie and Hannah. Neither one was mine in the way I'd imagined. But both changed my life. Sophie taught me that protection is a choice. That motherhood can happen in a moment when you decide to stand between danger and someone who needs you. Hannah taught me that love doesn't end when you give someone away. That the hardest choices can be the right ones. Tomorrow, Hannah is coming over for dinner. I'm going to cook. Something simple. Pasta. We'll sit at my kitchen table, and we'll keep getting to know each other. And I'll think about the girl I gave away, and the girl I chose to protect. Both times, I chose to be a mother, and I'd make both choices again, every single time.